Hello and welcome. This is Angie with thecountrysheetcottage.net here today with another Cricut craft. So today we're going to talk about making large paper flowers. So this is a huge paper flower and you can make this with your Cricut machine. So I've set up a canvas for you to cut your pieces. You can find the link for that in the description for this video. And now we're going to dive into, once you cut those pieces, how do you turn them into this gorgeous flower. So here we go. Alright, to make big paper flowers you'll need some cardstock. So I used large 12 by 12 pieces of cardstock, and I used 8 pieces for the flower itself and then a 9th piece for my leaves. So I went ahead and cut my pieces with my Cricut machine just to get started. You will need to rearrange the mat, so I have the canvas all set up for you and you can find a link for that in the description for this video. But you will have to rearrange the mats to utilize the paper the best way, so just kind of flip your petals around because it doesn't matter the orientation unless you're using a patterned paper, and then you might need to use more paper to get them the correct orientation. Then you'll also need your hot glue gun as well as a pair of scissors to complete the project. So first we're going to use the scissors and we're going to slit each of the petals down the center. So you just want to slit it 3 to 4 inches or so, and as the petals get smaller you will slit it a smaller amount. So this is just to fold them over onto themselves to get them to stand up into more of a 3D shape. So I'm going to go ahead and slit all the petals, and see I slit that one less. Then we'll come back and start building our flower with our hot glue gun. Now that we have all the petals sliced, now we're actually going to curl the ends just to give them more of a three-dimensional look. So I'm just using a pencil, curling them down a little bit and then letting that go. Then you can fluff and fold it however you would like. We're going to repeat this for all of the petals. So large to small, every petal gets curled a little bit. And then we'll continue on with the hot glue and forming our petals into that flower. Alright, I also have my petals in 2 different stacks. So the 3 largest petals I have on one side and the 2 smallest on the other. So these will form different ways. So these will form in and these will form out, and putting them in 2 different stacks helps me not get them mixed up. So we're going to start with the largest. And we want these petals to form out, so we're going to flip each one of those over, add some hot glue to where our slit is, and then just fold it over onto itself and hold it until the hot glue cools. So as you can see, this will help the flower to stand up and be more three-dimensional. So we're going to repeat that with all these petals. So we'll do all of these to the outside first, and then we'll do the ones to the inside, and then we'll start assembling the flower together after we have all of these formed. So now I have all of my petals that form out, and I'm going to do the ones that form in. So we just use the same method, but we just do it on the opposite side. And now the petals turn in on each of these smaller ones. So the 2 smaller sizes you want to turn in, not out. Now we're going to start assembling our flower. So we'll take the largest of the petals and we'll start assembling those with hot glue. So in this case we have 4, so we kind of want this to be 4 corners of the flower, so they will slightly overlap. Now we have a flower base, and we can start adding the smaller petals inside. So we'll just go to the next size up and we'll repeat. Now these need to lay, so this is where the 2 petals came together, and we're going to lay this one where those 2 petals came together to kind of cover up our seams a little bit. And again, there's 4 of these, so we can overlap these slightly. And you can work on forming the petals more as you start to assemble your flower. You might want them to curl a little more, a little less, but you can play with them as you assemble it. So we're just going to continue largest to smallest. Alright, so now we have our 3 largest petal sizes complete. So we're going to set this to the side. We're actually going to assemble the 3 smaller ones here and then add it to the center. So we're going to start with the smallest in this case, and we're just going to put these together. So on these 2 smallest ones, there's only 3 of each. So they kind of go together in a trio. And then you can kind of squeeze them together and get them even tighter. So it has that tight bloom in the center. And then we're going to put these 3 together. And we'll just add hot glue to the center, drop it right in. And then once that's cooled, we can add it to the center of our flower. So I'm just going to add hot glue to the back of this, drop it right in the center of this. And now all that's left to do is kind of fluff and fold our petals until we're happy with the result. And then this one is ready. Now, you can use the leaves if you want, but they are optional. And you can wait until you have it in place at your party to see if they'll look good or not, and then just hot glue them into place or tape them, anything like that. Just waiting will make sure that, you know, they look good with the flowers themselves. And if you're using a bunch of paper flowers, you don't want maybe 2 leaves per flower. Maybe you want like 1 leaf per flower or so just worked into the display. So I'm going to set these to the side and I'm going to add those later. So making huge flowers is so easy. And can you imagine a grouping of them at your next party for a photo backdrop or just to decorate the table, the party table? You could use a cluster of them for centerpieces. Like, there's so many ideas out there for huge paper flowers. So this is just one version. You can create tons of different versions to look like different types of flowers. So use your imagination and your Cricut machine and get started making paper flowers today. So if you love this video, be sure to give us a thumbs up. You'll also want to head to thecountryshootcottage.net. All this week we're doing flower crafts. I'm also doing a video for each of those, so you can head to our main YouTube channel, subscribe while you're there if you love Cricut crafts and crafting in general, and then head down and look at all the Cricut flower crafts from this week. You can also leave any comments or questions you have in the comment section below. So if you have a question about paper flowers, feel free to ask that. Have a question about your Cricut machine in general, feel free to ask that as well. I'll drop a link to another video that might answer your question, or I might answer it in a future video, so be sure to drop those questions. Thank you all so much for joining me today, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.